storytelling week, because storytelling day will fall on 20th March, and we are celebrating storytelling week. So I am every day here for new story, for new beginning. My stories are all around with the environment you are experiencing, day to day lives. And today we are also celebrating the day, the infinite pursuit. We are unlocking the mystery of Pi Day. What is Pi? As you all know, every 14th day of March at exactly 1:59 p.m., a peculiar global phenomenon occurs. Most of the world goes about its Saturday routine, a dedicated subculture of mathematicians who love mathematics. They all know what I am saying. It is dedicated to mathematicians, educators, and research enthusiastic pauses to celebrate a number that has no end, means Pi Day. Coinciding with the numerical date 314 is more than just a fun filled holiday. It is a gateway onto a mathematical mystery that has obsessed humanity for 4 millennia. What is the origin of a constant? Why I'm saying it's a constant? It has consistency, because pi has no finite value. It is still constant. The investigation into pi, it began long before it had a holiday, even a Greek letter to represent, and it is related to ancient Babylonians and Egyptians. They all realizes that a ratio of a circle's circumference to its diameter, it was always a constant, roughly around 3.124 or 3.16. And you know the Archimedes of Cycas who first applied rigorous geometry to the problem. And what they said, the inscribing and circumscribing that pi lay between 223/71 and 22/7. So we also celebrate 22/7 too. Why? When? It's on the month of July and the day 22nd. The holiday itself is a much younger constant. It was founded in 1988 by physicist Larry Shaw. And where? It was in San Francisco Exploratorium. What started as a small staff gathering featuring fruit pies and a circular march, it has evolved into a UNESCO recognized International Day of Mathematics. But you know, pi is an obsession also. What makes pi so captivating? So captivating to the investigative mind is its status as an irrational number. It can't be expressed as a simple fraction, and its decimal representation never ends or settles. It never ends. It never settles into repeating pattern. It is not the root of any non-zero polynomial equation with rational coefficients. And this infinite nature has turned pi into benchmark for modern computing power. Who is endless? What is endless? It is called infinite. So that pi too. In recent years, researchers and tech giants have used supercomputers to calculate pi to over 100 trillion digits. Is it shocking? This is not just for bragging rights, but calculations serve as stress tests for hardware. These calculations serve as stress tests for hardware, and bit terror detects for new algorithm. Do you ever think what is pi in the natural world? Beyond the classroom, pi appears in places one might not expect. It is found in the DNA double helix, the ripple of light waves. It's found in the DNA double helix, the ripples of light waves, and even the meandering paths of rivers. Albert Einstein, who coincidentally was born on Pi Day, March 14, and the year was exactly 1879, he utilized pi in his field equations for general relativity, and he described about energy, about matter, curved the fabric of space-time. And what about cultural ripple? In the era of today, in the era of modern time, the celebration bridges the gap between high level academia and pop culture. Pop culture means what comes and go. It happened apparently. Schools use the day to host recitation bees where students compete to memorize thousands of digits, while bakeries see a massive surge in sales. It is a rare moment where a mathematical concept becomes tangible, something you can eat, bake, or rhythm about. What is it? It is only pi. As we celebrate Pi Day 2026, we are not just celebrating a number, we are celebrating the human drive to find order in the infinite. Whether you are calculating the area of a circle or simply enjoying a slice of apple pie, you are participating in a 4,000-year-old investigation that must like the number itself. And it shows no signs of stopping. Nothing is stopped. Nothing is being stopped. Everything is constant. There is a few pi themed math puzzles also. And there is a Vedic math shortcut also. What is encircled related calculations? And Vedic math techniques specifically for circles and squares that make calculation much faster, much easy, and then the standard long form methods. We can recheck our answers too. The squaring shortcuts. It is ekadikena purvena. It's in Vedic math. When calculating the area of circle and what it's pi r square. You all know, I think. I hope you all know. You often need to square the radius. Do you know you can do the things? You can solve the numbers in few seconds. You can solve on fingertips how large the number is, no matters. Either it's our digit sums, either it's our multiplication shortcuts, either it's our squaring. Did you ever try to calculate the area of a circular pizza? If you did, I know you had it with a 15-inch radius. You all are aware about radius. You all are aware about pi. You all are aware about pi day. You all are aware about pi related puzzles. I am here with a story, and my story is also related with pi. Story of a boy named Pi. His parents are maths lovers. They live in hill station based in India. They all belong to happy family and funny time. And the title of the story is The Boy Named Pi, an Infinite Tale. What is the story? Be with me and listen the story carefully. So here we start. In the mist shrouded peaks of Shimla, where the cedar trees lean into the vine like slanted italic script, lived in the most mathematically consistent family in India. The patriarch Mr. Bhaskar was a high school math teacher who saw the world in grids. The matriarch Mrs. Savita was a statistician who didn't believe in coincidence, only highly improbable outliers. Mrs. Savita, wife of Mr. Bhaskar. Naturally, when their son was born on March 14th at exactly 1:59 p.m., they named him Pi. Pi was a bright, circular faced boy of 10 who lived in a cottage named the Radius, and also their cottage was Radius. He loved his parents, but he lived with a constant, hilariously exhausting reality. In the Bhaskar household, nothing ever just happened. Once a project or a hobby was initiated, it followed the fundamental law of their namesake constant. It was irrational and it was infinite. It never ever ended. Here is many more incidents. One of its I have the very first incident I want to tell. The quick morning yoga. An incident took place. It started on a Tuesday. Around 3 years back, Savita had read a newspaper on the benefits of Surya Namaskar. We shall do a round of sun salutations to start our day, she announced. Just a small sequence to align our internal vectors. 5, then 7. Thought it would last 10 minutes. But the Bhaskars didn't do sequences. They did series. By day 400, the morning yoga had expanded into a choreographed marathon that involved breathing techniques from three different centuries. They didn't just salute the sun, they greeted every celestial body in the solar system. The neighbors would watch from the mall road as the three of them stood on their balcony, moving in perfect, unending synchronicity. Dad, Pi whispered while holding a grueling plank, it's been over a year. Are we ever going to stop? Pi was excited, but not now. Bhaskar's sweat dripping off his nose like a decimal point. Pi, my boy, health is a constant, not a variable. We have currently calculated the limit of the flexibility as t approaches infinite, and whole this atmosphere was laughing at three, who was Bhaskar, Savita, and Pi. Really, they were constant. Incident 1 from Bhaskar's cottage radius. And now here's incident 2, the batch of trial cookies. Is that? Then there was a great cookie convergence. Savita decided to find the perfect ratio for a chocolate chip cookie. She baked one batch. It was good, but good is a subjective approximation. We need more data points, she declared. She means Savita declared. For the next 8 months, the house smelled like a professional industrial bakery. They didn't just bake cookies, they ran a longitudinal study. There were control groups, no salt, experimental groups, Himalayan pink salt. The double blind tests where Pi had to wear a blindfold and rate crunch factors. What he has to rate? Crunch factors on a scale of 1 to 10. Anyway, by the time they reached batch 3141, the kitchen was overflowing. They had cookies in the umbrella stand. They had cookies tucked behind the Encyclopedia Britannica. The local monk in Shimla grew remarkably round and developed a preference for 70% dark cocoa. Mom, Pi said, crunching on a batch 4002. I think we found it. This one is perfect. Nonsense, Savita replied, adjusting her glasses. We haven't yet accounted for the humidity of the monsoon season. The expansion rate of the dough is still fluctuating. Savita was normal, but Pi was not feeling that. And it was incident 2. It was about the batch of trial cookies. What is approximity? Another one, I'm taking you on Saturdays One Saturday, Bhaskar looked at a sparrow and decided it needed a home. Bhaskar was merciful. A simple wooden box, pie, a weekend project for father and son. It was a project for son, but a home for squirrel. By Sunday evening, the box was done, but Bhaskar looked at the birdhouse and frowned. It lacks structural complexity. What a hawk attacks? What about wind resistance at this altitude? Bhaskar was not satisfied. The weekend project entered its second year. The birdhouse was now a 5-story avian mansion with cantilevered balconies, a rainwater harvesting system, and a miniature Vedic style dome. Bhaskar was currently calculating the optimal angle for the sparrow's entrance to minimize drafts. Pi spent his Saturdays standing tiny pieces of Burmese teak. The sparrows, meanwhile, had long since moved into a simple hole in the gutter. But Bhaskar remained undeterred. Architecture, he told Pi, architecture is just geometry with a roof, and geometry is eternal. Ultimately, they all laughed. It was another incident of proximity. It is another incident of Pi. And Pi is a never ending story. The next one is funny feather from here. Because Pi was a child of the hills. His parents encouraged his imagination. One morning, Pi was said, "Tell us a story, Pi." They sat one evening by the fireplace. Just a short one before bed. Pi started a story about a brave mountain goat named Zero. Imagine a brave mountain goat and its name is Zero. But he made the mistake of giving the goat a backstory. Then his father asked about the goat's genealogy. Then Pai's father asked about the goat's genealogy. His mother asked for the statistical probability of a goat finding a golden well in a landslide. The story of Zero, the goat, has now been running for 3.5 years. It is told in installments every night before the bed. The plot has moved through 3 wars, a space travel arc, and a deeply complex legal battle over grazing rights in the astral plane. And then Pi would say, exhausted, Zero went to sleep. Zero, the goat, went to sleep. But wait, Bhaskar would interject, leaning forward. What about the secondary character we introduced in chapter 84? The one with the recurring dream. We must resolve his arc. Bhaskar was not satisfied. Bhaskar wants an ever ending, everlasting story. It has no end. Bhaskar and Savita's both feelings were toward only everlasting. They always want to feel the beauty of infinite. And one evening, sitting on the ridge looking at the sunset, Pai looked at his parents. Both Bhaskar and Savita were there. They were currently discussing whether their evening walk should be extended by a further half kilometer to reach a more harmonious total distance. Pi realized that while other families had beginnings and endings, vacations that finished, hobbies that were dropped, meals that were simply eaten, his family lived in the and so on, never ending. Pi is thinking his life was an infinite decimal. It was long, it was a bit repetitive, and it was occasionally confusing, but it was also incredibly stable. You always knew where you stood with Pi. You stood in the middle of a beautiful, never ending sequence. Dad, Mom, Pi called out as they walked down the winding path. Yes, Pi, are we going to keep doing this forever? Pi questioned. Bhaskar smiled, ruffling his son's hair. Well, son, forever is a very large number. But as long as the ratio of our love to our time remains constant, I don't see any reason to stop the calculation. And so they walked. They walked past the birdhouse mansion, past the mountain of cookies, and into the mist. 3 points on a line they stretched out toward the horizon. Irrational, transcendental, and perfectly happy. And it has been, it is being gone. It is never ending. Bhaskar's family, never ending story, habit by starting a collaborative infinite tale. Bhaskar's story, Savita's story, and also Pai's story. It is a never ending tale. Zero, the goat, find a shiny object on the mountain path. Every time someone tries to end the story, yes, absolutely, and he wants to go home. But still, you must use a Bhaskarism to keep it going. But wait, just as they reached the door, he realized he had forgotten the probability of the door being locked by a ghost mathematician. The infinite story, the Bhaskar's family. And who is fond of riddles? I want to incorporate a riddle in my story. I want to make my audience mind sharp, and it is also in very much in the style of Pi's father, Mr. Bhaskar. What do you do? What do you think? The birdhouse paradox. Here is, if Pi's father adds one new room to the birdhouse every day, if, listen carefully, if Pi's father adds a new room to the birdhouse every day, and each room is exactly 1 upon pi times the size of the previous room, will the birdhouse ever actually touch the ceiling, or will it just get infinitely detailed? What do you think? Who want to solve this one? I will tell my answer, but after a break. If you want to solve the riddle, you can answer me. You can message me in comment box. I will read and I will tell my answer. What is that? And the second one is, what the second one is, Pi's personal recipe dash 3.14. To make the cookie incident feel real, it is mathematical cookie recipe that you all audience can bake at home. And I can tell ingredients too. Flour, sugar, butter, chocolate chips. And what is the pie's measurement? Flour 3 cups, sugar 1 cup, butter 4 ounces, approximate 120 grams. Chocolate chips a bag, are infinitely many, it can be many. Baking time approximate 10 to 12 minutes. You can bake it. Okay, so it was all about the pie. It was all about the storytelling. How was that? How had been that? Please tell me about today's session, and also tell me what do you want to listen, which kind of stories you want to listen. I am all about to the end of the session, and my closing thing is the infinite loop. And so, as the sun sets behind the peaks of Shimla, Pi is still sitting by that fire. His mother is currently debating the statistical variance of the sunset's orange hue, and his father is explaining why the firewood must be stacked in a perfect spiral. You see, you see the story of Pi. It doesn't actually end here. It can't. Because in a world of constants, the only thing that truly grows in the is the and so on. लाइक कहानी अभी चलती रहेगी, कहानी अभी जारी रहेगी. So I won't say goodbye. I will just say to be continued and continued and continued. Before I leave, I want you to start your own Bhaskar project. Pick one small thing today, baking a dish, drawing a circle, or telling a joke, and don't let it end today. Find a way to make it a little bit better tomorrow, and the day after, and the day after. What is your project? You can post it, you can post your infinite project, you can still post your infinite story, and your tag should be my pie story. MYPISTORY. I will read, I will listen all the videos, all the stories with the tag my pie story. Let us see how long we can keep the calculation going. We often rush to find the equal sign in our lives. We want the answer, the result, the finish line. But Pi teaches us that some of the most beautiful things in the universe, circles, music, DNA, love, it don't have a final decimal point. May your joy be rational, may your success be transcendental, and may your curiosity be as finite as the number 3.14 pi. Happy Pi Day, everyone, from my side. My special thank you to all of you who are listening, who will listen, who are commenting, who will comment. My special thanks to Archimedes, to my special thanks to Larry Shaw, to Larry Shaw was the founder of this day, Pi Day. And every parent who never knows when to stop a bedtime story. You all know bedtime story should be a passion. I am also here for a non-stop endless stories. No matters how long I go, no matters how much I will bake, but I will be baking stories for you every day, each and every day. Tomorrow I will be available, and now I am leaving. I am leaving with a smile, a pie smile, never ending smile. And I hope you should all, you will all wear pie smile on your face. Thank you for listening. Thank you for joining. Thank you for commenting. Thank you so much. And if you subscribe the channel, you will get the notice. Okay? Bye bye. Keep smiling. Keep pie smiling.